Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Samuel Aziz Bubaus. I'm the CEO and founder of the Whole Wealth Group, and we help e-commerce entrepreneurs every single day to set up a tax-free company, to get good banking, to get stable private processing, and to build a holistic, ultimate e-commerce structure to make millions of dollars of profit every single month. And this private processing guide is the ultimate guide to scale to millions per month without payment processing issues. So you will learn absolutely everything that you can learn, and we will once and for all fix all these issues. So this is important. Most entrepreneurs start thinking about payment processing when it's already too late. And in general, most e-commerce entrepreneurs think about every upcoming problem way too late because you make money, and sooner or earlier you try to sabotage yourself because most of you are born in a humble background. I'm born from a humble background. I grew up in a small village in Germany. Every odd was against me, and still I made it to the top. And you can do the same, or you're already doing the same. But because you are born broke, somehow you manipulate yourself to go back where you're from. And one reason is because you don't see upcoming problems. You see, just because the business is going well right now and you are on an upwards trajectory, that it will just stay like this. But there's a reason why most businesses don't survive for 5 years, 10 years, and so on. The businesses that I already have these businesses for multiple years. So it's not something that works for a short period of time. And one reason is because every single day I sit, for example, in my office or in one of my apartments or villas, and I look outside and I think about every potential risk of my businesses. What could happen so that there's no competition that can ever outwork me? And one thing which of course can happen is that your payment processing is blocked. And if one of your pillars of your business doesn't work, your business doesn't work at all, and then it's not a business. So you need to think earlier about private processing and about payment processing as a whole. Because if you think about it too late, that's the reason why you will be unable to scale and to keep millions every single month. And sooner or earlier, the competition will eat you alive. And if you have a business which is easy to copy and where a competitor can just take your market share, this is not a business, it's a joke, I'm here using the iPad, I can't just next week drop ship something similar and take a huge market share from Apple. But could I take a huge market share from you? Ask this to yourself. Probably yes. So you're not a real business yet, but we will fix it. So you need to work earlier on payment processing because maybe everything seems to be going well right now, but if you don't have the knowledge of this video, then it's more than likely that you will face issues soon. And it doesn't even matter. You can have the best team, the best customer support, the best fulfillment, the best product, the best ads and marketing, the best branding, which is in 90% of all of you also not the case. In 95% of all of you, it's not the case because you don't have a good team, and we need to fix your team in the wealth consulting blueprint. We need to fix your fulfillment. Your product is maybe not on point, but just imagine all this is on point, and also your ads and marketing, and even there, marketing, if you're just relying on ads, if you're just a sucker of Mark Zuckerberg and you don't have a real massive marketing machine, you will be also destroyed sooner or earlier. But imagine everything of this works perfectly. Still, if you can't collect money, you don't have a real business. So you need to be able to collect money. And that's why it's important for today and in the Wealth Consulting Blueprint to create your ultimate step-by-step plan for scaling to millions per month. And this plan consists of 4 phases. But before we go into these phases, we need to cover the basics of payment processing because most of you don't even know the basics of your own business. If I ask people about their business, about their industry, how huge is this industry? How many competitors do you have? They don't even know the answers. So how can you run a million and future billion-dollar empire if you don't even know the basics about business, about your industry, and about the different pillars of your business? And this is what you should do right now. Just sit down and write down every single piece of your business. Every single step, starting with the marketing, then the website, then your team, then your fulfillment, then your company, then your banking, then your payment processing, and so on. Look that everything works perfectly, that you have a backup for everything, that it's all bulletproof. This is what you need to do. So first, let's cover the basics. What is payment processing and why is it different from what you think? So you probably just see, hey, a client comes to your online shop, then they want to order something, then you use, let's say, Shopify Payment Stripe, and then you receive a payment, a payout, and everything is good, right? But in reality, it's a little bit more complicated. And this is, there's your online shop. In the end, it's an acquiring bank, a merchant bank. This is not the end bank where you get your payout. It's the online shop, and in the end is the acquiring bank. And in between, this is the payment gateway. And in between is the merchant, the service provider. And you probably use Stripe, Shopify Payments right now, or one of the few alternatives. And then you get the payout to the bank. And why is it important to understand? Because there's a huge difference in how merchant service providers work. And most of you don't know the difference. And that's the reason that some merchant service providers are easy to onboard you, almost no KYC, great platform, a lot of integrations. They almost force you with these integrations to use them, but they are just horrible for scaling to high revenues. And this leads sooner or earlier to issues like random holds, reserves, and blocked accounts, bad or no customer support, uncertainty and unpredictability. And this is the last thing that you want. You don't want that anything in your business depends on luck or on good and bad accidents. Everything needs to be laser beam focused and predictable. So every time you scale, something breaks. And what's the reason for this? And how can you fix it? So for you to understand, Shopify Payments with Stripe, they use an aggregator model, which means there are basically many merchants who share one huge account and one banking relationship. And they have this big bundle of these accounts. They just onboard you fast. But the problem is it's just a few questions and you are onboarded wrong under the real bank, under the merchant bank. So the bank doesn't really know your business, doesn't even have enough information, which means every step that you do from now on, they don't have any information. You scale fast, you sell internationally, Black Friday, your revenue goes up. Everything for them, it's high risk. And probably you are anyways completely onboarded in the wrong risk category. And that's why once you do a mistake, boom, all of a sudden you think everything is going perfect. And all of a sudden, everything breaks. There's one day of my life that I will never, ever forget. I was in Dubai Mall. I thought I made it, my businesses were working completely on autopilot. The only job that I had is counting money and sending money, thinking which assets I want to buy. And I was in the mall with an employee. And then he said, bro, something strange is going on. I said, what? Because this employee had access to my email. He said, we got a notification from Stripe. They are holding your money. And I thought, okay, what's this? I was driving back. I was checking 80% of my money is on hold and they will stop working with me in 1 month. And it was a subscription model. So it was all based on them. And I thought right now, I just lost everything. Like everything that I took for granted. Because this money finances everything. It finances my employees, finances my family, finances my lifestyle, my investments, and all the good long-term plans to improve the world, the businesses that I want to do. It was all dependent on this. How could I be so stupid? How could I, not be grateful to be in this period of time where I can just sit in front of a laptop, build a business, earn so much money? How could I be so ungrateful to not take this more serious? It was my duty to take it more serious. So if you're not taking it seriously enough right now, it's your duty. You have no other option because people are reliant on you. Employees, your family, all these people are reliant on you that you keep this income source alive and make it grow so that you as a righteous person together with us as a righteous community have more influence. That's what we need. So, and that's just why it breaks sooner or earlier. While with private processing, you have one merchant with an own account, with an own banking relationship. So you are with this merchant, you are there with the bank, onboarded, and they really know your business. So you are onboarded right in the right risk category. So nothing can go wrong, basically. So let's see the details. Again, aggregator model, you have the fast onboarding. You know this from all these providers. A few questions and that's it, basically. Here's your login, start to use it. And of course, it's a good platform and good integrations and good features like multi-currency and so on. But you just have an online chat. You have all of a sudden frozen accounts. It's not flexible and it doesn't matter how much money you make. At this time, I thought, I make millions. I should get treated like a king, right? I made it. But no, I get treated like a slave of this company. And I looked at the percentage and how much money they earn on me. How can they not give me a king VIP first class treatment? But this just doesn't happen because these companies are just not focused on this. This is just what you need to understand. They don't care about your business. They don't need you as a client. They plan an exit and everything needs to be clean and systemized. And this is the robot system. And that's why it's good to get started, but you will never have private processor there. And again, with private processing, it's all different. Yes, it takes longer. It is more KYC. It's the same with banks. Fintech banks are easy, fast. You get them, but you can always lose them very fast, while real banks ask you maybe more questions, but then you really have this bank account. Of course, you also need to put more money there, but then you have your private bank and you will never lose this bank account. So it's a sustainable solution forever. And it's the same with private processing. It takes longer, but then you have the real deal. You have one-on-one support, you have your private processor, you have stability and reliability, you have a real partnership, you're stable and scalable with the setup, and it's a tailored solution to you. Yes, private processors can tailor everything to you. And there are different processors. There are low-risk merchants, there are high-risk merchants. So you don't need to go to basic aggregators and try to cheat and lie with your business to convince them that everything is low risk. You think you can trick the system because you're so intelligent. Sooner or earlier, you will realize you're not that intelligent and you should keep everything clean and honest and transparent. And you should always go to the person who really wants your business, who wants to work with you. And there are, for example, let's say you have a higher risk business. There are high risk merchants who only want high risk businesses. So they want businesses which have a lot of risk so they can earn more money, but they love this kind of businesses. And this is important in this market to always choose the person which just fits to this type of business. And important, what I always explain to you, over the years, you make more and more and more money. But what you also do is, in the right scenario, with all this money that you make, you build partnerships, you build relationships. This is something what people many times completely forget about. They just think, because I know where you're right now, probably. You are fully in your tunnel, in your e-commerce tunnel, and I have one store or two or three, and maybe I want to make more or I want to buy something. But it's the only thing you can see. And everything around, you just forget. While if you broaden your mindset a little bit and you realize that what you do right now is nothing, you can 100x it, and you build great relationships, soft power on the side over the years. Believe me, in the future, this will make you unstoppable. Because look what we do here with wealth consulting. Why does everything that we do with wealth consulting work so great? It's because I hustled for 10 years, I made a lot of money, and I used this money to build good relationships. That's why nobody could compete with us, because nobody has this kind of bank relationships that I have. Nobody has government connections and everything holistically for e-commerce, and I've built it because I made a lot of money, did a lot of business with these different entities, and that's why I've built a reliable partnership with these people. Let's say with JP Morgan Chase, because there's so much money from me there for so many years. Of course, they're good partners with me, and that's what you should build. The introvert clients of us who don't like to flex, who like to save money, are the most successful clients of us. Maybe you don't believe it, because in social media, even I need to flex here a little bit. but the most successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, at least 90% of them, are the introverts who don't care about talking much, about flexing, who just focus on their business. And yeah, it's just a good learning for you. So let's continue. Aggregator model. There are basically levels of payment processing. Level number 1 is the testing period. Level number 2 is the stabilizing period. Level number 3 is the scaling period. And level number 4 is the diversification period. And if you're in the testing period right now, it's okay to use Shopify Payments, Stripe, and so on. But in phase number 2, you should build a backup. And here you can see in which phase you are right now. 0 to 100K testing, 50 to 500K stabilizing, depending on your business, on your industry, on your marketing. Scale is level number 3. It's 500K to 2 million US dollar per month. And level number 4 is diversification, which is 2 million up to 100 million per month. And if you're not at level number 4, try to stay focused and try to get there as soon as possible. And just to finish my point from before, if you're an introvert and you like to save money, that's good. Continue. Focus on your business. Don't waste your money. But don't save on the wrong parts, which are also part of your business. For example, we see it every day that people just hire a registered agent in the US or nominee director in Hong Kong, and they transfer all their business to them just to save more money to a random person because they were not willing to pay 10K or give a revenue share to somebody that they really trust. So they try to save a few K, but risk all their business. So never save on things which are really important for your business. And building relationships, building soft power, making sure that your business survives is always an investment that you need to make. So let's start with phase number 1, the testing phase. You don't know what and where to sell. You don't have product market fit, history, proof of concept, nothing. For this period, obviously, anyways, we need to fix your mindset in the wealth consulting blueprint, because the regular e-commerce dropshipping common sense is nonsense. What your coaches recommend you is nonsense. All this just randomly testing product. It's some student, loser, low-level mindset. High-level entrepreneurs go into a certain industry with a certain game plan, and they try the product and they see what fits to the market, but they're not just sleep wandering around and see whatever comes right now to them and the market will show. Because yes, even now it's hot and it's good that you make 1 million per month with air conditioner in Europe. But how much will you make in winter in Europe now? So you need to build sooner or earlier something stable, and in best case in an industry that you really understand, that it will make things much more easy also for payment processing. And you will understand in this presentation why it makes things more easy for payment processing. But just to make it short, I already explained to you one big issue is that these merchant banks don't know what you're actually doing. And when you are in phase number 1, it's actually the worst, of course. I mean, hey, what's your business? Yeah, I'm just sitting and I'm trying. Yeah, so what's the business? Yeah, I don't know. I will see. Why should they even work with you? So you can be lucky that Stripe, Shopify Payments even exist. But even at this period, you should try to get everything in order and as clean as possible, as soon as possible. So for your first revenue, you use these aggregators. And real payment processors anyways want to onboard you because, again, you don't have a revenue history, you're not focused on one country or region, you don't have a payment processing history, you don't have any data on your chargebacks. So you are mysterious, but not in a good way, in a loser way, and you need to change it. How you can fix it at this time? Start to focus already on one country, get a good company structure, and have a good fintech bank account, and just try as soon as possible to create a proof of concept, to become profitable, and to focus on one country. Phase number 2, the stabilizing period. Now you've created a proof of concept, you're profitable, and you make consistent revenue. And now you can continue to use the aggregators because, again, they also have a lot of pros. But you should at least right now, where you don't have issues, where you have good bank statements and processing statements, now you should at least start to immediately build a backup with private processing. And not just to have the payment processing backup, but to have good partners on your side who help you to fix minor issues on your website, to get a dedicated manager even with PayPal, just to build the right track record from now on. Because now it's time to get your first real payment processor. You found your niche and winning product, proof of concept, you're focused on one main country or region, you have payment processing history, bank statements, and data when it comes to chargeback rates, and now you really need to see and really need to get a tax-free company setup or a tax-optimized setup, because in phase one, a lot of you still live in Europe, for example, and you use your high-tax Europe Western company setup, but now it's really time to set up either a US LLC with us if you sell in US and Canada, or set up a Hong Kong Limited if you sell to Europe. You need a tax-free residency in best case, like Dubai. This is, of course, a bonus, but you should really do it. You need a first real payment processor, a dedicated PayPal manager, and at least 1 to 2 good local bank accounts. If you already have 1 million in savings, then it's really time to get JP Morgan Chase, for example, in the US. And the goal of this period is to become tax-free, to create more stability in payment processing, and to optimize all parts of the business step by step. And I said the tax-free setup is an add-on, but it really helps you because a lot of you are just fully in the matrix. And you stay in the matrix. You make it even worse. Why? Because remember, I told the story many times here on my YouTube channel. If you didn't watch this story, then subscribe to the YouTube channel and check all the other videos from us. And I lived in Germany, made a lot of money. I faced tax issues, and it was so hard to get out of Germany then. And you see now all the Western countries start with an exit tax or already started. So the more money you make, the harder it will get out of your country. So you make your business on credit, and not just on credit, you're building liability, and it will get harder and harder to get out of this country because you build more and more substance. So you should do it as soon as possible. And number two, if you don't have a tax-free setup, your competition will have a tax-free setup, and they will outwork you sooner or earlier. Like Jeff Bezos said, if the market allows us to pay low taxes, we just need to do it. We are in a capitalistic system. And if I don't do it, the competition will do it, and then they have more profit and they can outwork me. Well, business is war, and you need to kill your competitors and make sure that nobody can outwork you. So we will optimize all the parts of your business step by step. Phase number 3 is the scaling period. Now you improved all these areas and your revenue is growing rapidly every month. And congratulations, you are blessed. It's amazing. I mean, you have an online business, money comes every single day. You can't even imagine how great this actually is because you already managed the most difficult part, which is to build something stable and profitable with recurring revenue. And the issue is now starts the period where you should never ever start sabotaging yourself. And that's why you really need a person with experience on your side, like me, like us from Wealth Consulting. We are the best team ever. People who already have the experience, which see the same mistakes every single day so that you don't make this mistake. And it's so important. I did a lot of things right in my life, but if I would have a better mentor, I would be on a completely different level. Somebody that I could really trust, who went exactly in this direction. And this is what you need right now. And now you're at 500K to 2 million US dollar per month, and it's a lot, and it's more important to not destroy this. And in order to continue scaling without payment processing issues, you need multiple real payment processors to mitigate risk. Because now you have a good revenue history and high volume, and it's important that your revenue comes mostly for 1 to 3 main countries or parts of the world. That's why we always say, take over the US market. We are here still in New York, in Manhattan, in front of the Central Park, in front of Billionaires Row, and you can print millions in profit in the US, but you can also make a lot of money in Europe for sure, and you can make money all over the world. but it's easy. And as I always say, most successful clients of us, 90% of them sell to the US and a little bit to Canada, UK, European Union, Australia, New Zealand. But it depends on your business. And you have solid bank statements, good history when it comes to chargeback rates and customer satisfaction. So now you can really build the perfect solution forever, basically, because now you make a lot of revenue. So, and if you do it right, you get multiple real payment processors and preferred banking, then you covered the whole banking and payment processing part. And then you can really sleep quietly. And this is really a dream. I mean, look, money is coming in every single day. Now you're tax optimized. You don't need to worry anymore about your money because you have real good local bank accounts with a private banker. You have multiple real payment processors, and you have private processing with a dedicated private processor on your side that you can always just text in WhatsApp. You can text the whole team, and they will always warn you or correct you if you do a mistake, sometimes way earlier than you can actually see it. And if you didn't really fully fix your mindset yet, this is what you need to learn. You need to stop with your self-made hustler mindset. I do everything, I grind, I hustle. If you want to be a real business owner with real freedom, with real peace of mind, you need to have a good team and external experts on your side who are sometimes more intelligent than you and who simply have more capability and bandwidth and time and focus on certain aspects of your business. You can't do everything at the same time, right? So don't sabotage yourself. And the goal in this period, in the scaling period, is to increase reliability in payment processing through at least one backup payment processor, at least one backup payment processor, at least one backup payment processor. I need to repeat it because you need a backup, even if you don't use this backup right now. Again, your business is doing well. Don't tackle the problems when you already have the problem, because then you're in a downward spiral. Now you're already blocked. Now you already have bad processing statements. Now nobody wants you. So do it before, when still everything is running perfectly. And now you really need to protect your money through preferred banking, and you can really scale heavily all out, because when banking and payment processing is fixed, then you can focus more on your marketing, not just doing ads, and more just listening what I explain to you. And then we are at the ultimate phase, which is phase number 4, and this is the diversification phase. And this is overall anyways in business the best phase with everything that you do, because you don't need to cover anymore this low level business issues. And this is great. I mean, you have a huge team. So when you're smaller in the beginning, you need to do everything by yourself, and you waste so much time with so minor, small problems, sometimes the whole day, or some people waste a year with taxes and accounting in the West and processing issues. But now when you're high level and you have a good team and a good setup, you don't need to worry anymore about any of the daily business, anything of the small problems. And now you can focus on the big picture. And this is what's great. And now you can really build a huge empire. So at this point, you really own a good share of your market, and you just work on diversifying risk. And this is in general also what I do every day. For example, now I'm just every day sitting in front of my bank accounts, and every day comes new fresh money. And this is almost the only fixed to-do that I have in my calendar is capital allocation, to see every single day, okay, what do I make with this profit? And I need to do it every day because this money is just becoming too much. And this is great, the diversification period, because now you make 2 million up to 100 million US dollar per month. 100 is crazy, but 2 million is really good. And now it's time to get set up with the best and most stable payment processors. You have a really good revenue history, amazing bank statements, and great data on chargeback rates and customer satisfaction. And yes, maybe there are numbers which sound high for you, but you need to just higher your standards. Because if I go in a new industry, the only thing that I check is what is the number one doing. And if it's not enough, then I'm not interested in this business at all, because this is what I want to achieve, what the number one is doing in this industry. And these are the numbers. And only if you achieve these numbers, then you build a real empire. You need to stop just thinking about yourself like, oh yeah, I can buy some watches and fly first class and buy a villa. This should be the basics, but you need to think about a bigger picture. And for this, you need a real company and you need to really scale. And at this period, you need everything, because in phase number 4 starts a phase which is not just diversification, but it's seriously the phase of business is war, which means the competition will really try to get you down. They will send hackers. They will send people who make thousands of fake orders on your website or with stolen credit card data and then chargebacks to get your payment processing down. So you need good protection. You need an IT team. You need multiple companies. You need maybe backup brands. You need multiple stores for multiple countries, because now you're on the international scale. Because when you're already maxed out the US, for example, then of course you scale worldwide, but at the right period of time. We just see too many broke, wannabe, overthinking, future, again, wannabe entrepreneurs who say, I make a little bit in this country, but now I also already need to sell to Italy and I already need to sell to Spain because there are people are also really interested and they really need it. Yes, bro, but you're broke. Focus on one market first and then you scale internationally. But now, yes, you are in phase 4, so you are at this stage, so you can scale worldwide. And there are so many operations and things that we need to work on and improve. And I have the practical experience, so we can always guide you through the whole journey. And this is our goal, to guide you through the whole journey as a partner forever, inshallah. And you have multiple funnels for single products. You have fraud protection, or at least you should have fraud protection and these multiple funnels, which again, most people don't have a marketing machine. They just do ads and it's not a business. And you need good relationships, of course, with banks and payment processors. And we do it for you at this stage anyways. And the goal in phase 4 is to make sure your business stands on more than one leg and make it bulletproof. And this is really the period where you build bulletproof wealth. Don't take it for granted. Stay taking it seriously. And now you can do absolutely everything. The lifestyle that I live and that you should live, which is the basics anyways covered. Flying first class for free, spending as much money as you want, buying real estate nonstop. These are anyways basics, but I'm also talking about bigger things. You can do more good things for the world. You can start a foundation if you want. You can give more charity. You can invest in new businesses which are interesting, or you can build a new business which is interesting for you, which is more about a long-term vision than just squeezing out money out of an opportunity. You just have all the flexibility. You have strength. And this is great. And this is what you should achieve. This is the only thing that you should really achieve if you are striving to be a high-level entrepreneur. Now we will answer all your questions about high-level payment processing. And the first question is, what is considered high risk, medium risk, and low risk in payment processing? Low risk are all kind of regular products, basically. For example, household items, digital products, fashion to some degree, subscriptions, no, electronics, customized items, all kind of regular products. Medium risk is mostly supplements, health and wellness, for example, but it depends with Nutra. A lot of it is also high risk. Then subscriptions is medium risk, but can be even high risk, depending on how your subscription business works. We know all the shady subscription businesses. That's why it's always important, just as I told you, be transparent about your business. We had it so many times that people came to us and said, and I asked them, hey, is everything legit with your business? You have payment processing issues, but everything is legit. Yes, I have the subscription business. And then I researched a little bit about the reviews, and shady. So just be honest. This will help you much more in life. High ticket e-commerce is medium risk. Coaching, consulting, yes, it's medium risk. And high risk are all the haram industries that we don't serve anyways, like gambling or adult. Neutral, like CBD nootropics. This is high risk. But even with crypto, even with CBD, with nootropics, with all kinds of high risk industries which are not haram, you can get good payment processing, because we have high risk merchants who only want high risk clients. That's what they are specialized on, and that's what they love. So if you have a high-risk business, you don't need to worry. The advantage is if you have a medium or high-risk business and you have competitors who don't have payment processing solutions, then you can completely excel and take over the market. And we saw it in many high-risk industries that just by fixing payment processing, we brought businesses from 600K per month to 3 million or 3.5 million per month and millions in profits, because most of the times high risk industries have a higher profit margin and all the competitors can't receive credit card payments and they only have some Zelle or some bank wire, not a good system, while you can offer everything: Ideal, Klarna, PayPal, credit card payments, so you can completely take over the market. And the higher the business risk, of course, the higher the payment processing fees, but it's worth it. And as I explained, don't save on the wrong end because you need it anyways. The next question is, what is a merchant of records? A merchant of record is a local entity in a country or region that you want to sell to, that allows you to use the infrastructure in order to sell your products to the local market. The pros and cons of using a merchant of records. The advantage is you have the best local payment methods and card acceptance rates and local currencies. And the disadvantage is you have slightly higher fees and less control. And the requirements are that your company should exist for over 12 months and you should have a good history for the past 3 months of at least $100,000 per month in revenue, as well as inventory, no drop shipping. And that's why I always tell you, set up your company as soon as possible. I never saw anybody who ever said, hey, I regret that I was setting up a US LLC. Maybe sometimes with Hong Kong because you have maintenance fees and they were setting it up with the wrong expectation. But overall, just don't wait. A US LLC costs you nothing and it's no maintenance. And if you apply for payment processing or for a merchant of record or financing or local bank or all the other things, the number one thing where entities just look at it, when did this company registered? How old is this company? So it's just easy to get started and then you don't need to wait for many things. So don't wait for your item, don't wait for anything, do everything that you need to do just today. Sundown rule. We have a few more hours until the sun goes down. Just try to do everything that you would normally do in the next months today, just today, instead of over the next month. And try to achieve your 10-year goals in 6 months. Yes, you will probably not achieve it, but you will make much more progress with this approach than just with this slow motion approach that many of you are running right now. So this is really important. Inventory, the same. Stop with this drop shipping mindset. As soon as you make a lot of money, have your own product and good fulfillment. It's really important and it's so easy to do this step. The next question is, what do I need in order to get private processing, the private banking of the payment processing world? First, you should sell mostly to the country where your company is registered, especially in the case of US. So having a US LLC, selling to US, and then 40% you can sell to Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, but at least 60%. And if you have a Hong Kong Limited, there you can sell to Europe and Asia. And it's totally fine because Hong Kong Limiteds and Hong Kong overall is specialized on dropshipping, e-commerce, and these companies are specialized on you selling to all these countries except America. This is really important. Focus on one country and niche. As I already explained to you many times today, if you focus on one country, one niche, one industry, if everything is clear, then banking and payment processing is way more easy. The next step is history. You need at least 3 processing months. Then you should have low chargeback rates, and for the US, you need either an ITIN or a signer and a reliable proof of address or a really good history. As I said, the longer you have a company and your ITIN and a proof of address and so on, the more easy it is. But also the more money you make, the more easy everything is anyways. And if you have enough money, a lot of rules just don't apply, because in this capitalistic system, everything works faster. Not in Europe, where they don't care about your money and just do some other nonsense, but in the US and in the UAE and in Southeast Asia, with money, you can solve all problems. And that's good for you as an entrepreneur, and why you should never cry around about problems, because now you make money and you can just throw more money at these problems to solve them. The next question is, how fast can I switch my entire revenue to private processing? You can process your entire revenue through the new payment processor as long as you can prove a new history. So it's really easy, really fast, and if everything is smoothly, you can switch immediately. So, and that's why it's even good to have a backup, just because in case you can switch immediately. If you just start to apply, it takes a long time. So get your backup ready and you can switch whenever you want and when it's needed. The next question is, how much are the fees with private processing? Low risk is similar to Stripe Shopify payments, 2.9 to 3.9%. Medium risk is slightly higher, and high risk is definitely higher, but it really depends on the processor, it depends on your company setup, depends on your industry. Yes, but if you're in a high-risk industry, it's okay to pay more fees as long as you have a solution. The next question is, do I have any holds or reserves with private processing? And this is difficult to answer, but overall, the better your history, the lower the reserves or holds. Reserves and holds are agreed upfront without random surprises like with Stripe or Shopify payments. So in many cases, they tell you, hey, yes, put 10% down for the first 90 days. And then after 90 days, it's released, or after 90 days, it's only 5%, and so on. But it's totally fine, because you're a new client, you don't have history with them yet, you have history overall, but not with them. That's why I told you, you need to build good partners. And then it gets more and more easy, and they want less and less safety from you. But at least it's communicated. At least you know, they told me 90 days, and after 90 days, it's released. Why with aggregators, while with fintechs and so on, it's never communicated. It just happens all of a sudden and you have no predictability. And this is something that doesn't make any sense at all. Next question, how long does the setup for private processing take? The setup time depends on your history and usually takes between 2 weeks and 2 months. But again, you can relax. You have a private processing team on your side which takes care of everything, and you follow my advice. You do it on time and not just last minute when it's already too late. So you don't need to rush. You build the backup on time. 2 weeks to 2 months is the time frame. The next question is, what is a signer and when do I need one? A signer is a US citizen with a social security number who officially manages your business. A signer allows you to get the best payment processing and banking solutions, and a trustworthy signer costs around 5 to 20,000 US dollar per month. Yes, I know, I'm in this business. There are a lot of these cheap providers who find some unlegit signer for a few K or less than a K per month, but it doesn't make any sense at all, because these signers are onboarded on 100 different accounts, and if one business, one account runs into issues, this will also affect all the other businesses. So why would you transfer your business to a person where all of a sudden your business can be destroyed because he's on other accounts? Or even worse, people trust random signers that they don't even know with a company which is half legit, half unlegit, or with a Hong Kong agent. Like, why would you do this? Just to save money? To transfer your business to a random person that you can't trust, or a random person which is just not safe? It doesn't make any sense at all. That's why I'm telling you, don't save on the wrong end. And that's what I see with every single client of us who makes a lot of money. They don't overthink doing the right investments. They invest in whatever is necessary to protect their business and to scale their business. The next question is, do I need a business plan? You just need a short forecast of your expected revenues, incoming transactions, and product sales. And this is important, guys. You don't need a 50-page student presentation about all the details, but at least you should know how much will you sell next month, how much will you sell next year, and you need a clear direction. It's important for you, and you should do this with everything in your business so that you never lose the goal out of mind. And I learned over the years, and you will see the same when you get rich and a lot of people around you get rich, a lot of these people just fall out after some time and they will not develop anymore, or they will sabotage themselves, or they get drug addicted or lost in something else. While the people, I mean, I have people around me for already 10 years who had the same long-term visions, which means, yes, now I do this business, but then I will do this, and then I will do this, and then I will invest in this, and this will lead to the bigger vision. These people who are non-stop growing. So if your vision is so small about just making money for your lifestyle, and that's it, you will achieve the lifestyle, and then you will like screw everything up. So build a long-term vision, write down everything in your life. Doesn't matter if it's marriage, family, fitness, how you want to live, your business. You need to write down everything, all the goals, all the time frames, so that everything is clear in your life. Why does it matter where I sell? Cross-border sales are high risk for payment processors. So you should always sell 60% in the country where your company is registered, except Hong Kong, as I already explained to you today many times. The next question is, how high are the credit card acceptance rates with private processing? Credit card acceptance rates depend on multiple factors. Number one, is your company registered in the same country region as the customer, as I already explained multiple times today. And that's also why you should subscribe to our channel and watch the Hong Kong video, the US video, or moving to Dubai video, and just book a call and get full clarity in the blueprint. Number two, what local banks does the payment processor work with? And number three, is there a currency mismatch? That's really important. Look at the low acceptance rates. It would be, let's say you have a Hong Kong company and then you sell in euro with a European bank to a US client with a US bank account. It doesn't make any sense at all. And some of you are doing it, and that's why things are not really working well. It should be more structured. A high acceptance rate is you have a US company, you sell in USD, you use a US bank to a US client with a US bank account. Really, really simple. And that's why the more easy your business is, the more it's structured. Keep it stupid simple. KISS, the more money you will make. That's what I learned over and over and over all the years. The more complicated a business got with so many different products and operations and decisions, the less money I made. And the best businesses are totally simple. One main product in one main region and just scale to the moon. This is just the best that you can do. And the closer the payment looks to the customer's environment, the higher the success rate. For the people of you who sell to Europe, you don't need to worry. A Hong Kong Limited is perfect for Europe, and this fits perfectly because this is the existence of Hong Kong financial industry and e-commerce, and it works really well. The next question is, why do our clients choose private processing? Because they understand, the intelligent one, that they are not payment processing experts. They are looking for a long-term solution that grows with them, and private processing is the ultimate long-term solution that grows with them. And that's what you just need to do in every stage of your life. Build a circle around you, from trusted employees to trusted business partners to trusted external partners who grow with you, because you can't do this later on when you're already at the top. You need to do it in parallel. It's really important. Private processing is the private banking of the payment processing world, because we have all the connections to all the payment processors that would otherwise just reject you. That's how it works. If you have money, if you have the right connections, you can solve everything. And that's why I was focused for the last 10 years on making more money and to building connections. And we, from private processing, we take you through the 4 phases. We set up the right payment processors that fit your business at the right time. You have a private processing manager who's there for all your questions. And this is what a wealthy person needs, right? You want to get treated like a king, which means you have your private banker, you have your private processor, and you have people who manage this things for you so that you can fully focus on your business or in other things in this life. And the holistic setup that allows you to scale hard is with private processing. But number one, of course, you need good banking, then you have stable processing, and you have a solid company structure and tax freedom. That's why I always say this wealth consulting pyramid, and this is in this case for e-commerce, this 3 steps. And we don't just fix payment processing only, we also create a holistic e-commerce setup to scale to $1 million in profit per month without paying excessive taxes, without banking issues, without blocked accounts or payment holds. And all this is obviously connected, and only if you do this holistically, it will really work. And that's why we always say we don't want clients who want a part solution from us, only a company, only a bank account. No, we are looking for trusted partners that grow with us long term and who want to do everything with us, because only then we can really help you. And only if this is all connected holistically, you have the bulletproof setup and can really excel and take over and build bulletproof wealth. And we just build a community of righteous people here with exactly this value. So if you qualify for private processing, then just go to wealthconsulting.com, book a call with us, and I would say see you on the call, see you in the next video, or see you in real life.